Welcome to the Unloaded Podcast. This is Michael Seahorn.
This is Shannon Morrow.
And welcome back to our podcast. This is going to be episode 9. Absolutely crazy. We've done 9 of these.
What's so crazy about that?
You know, I saw an interesting thing. They sent me an email in reference to podcasts in general, and they're like, hey, you guys have recorded this many episodes, and like 60% of all new podcasters don't make it past like 4.
Oh, wow.
So I was kind of pumping my fist in the air by myself. I was like, well, look at us go. Right. So I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be a part of this journey with Shannon and with our listening audience. And it's it's been 2 months of recording. It just I guess it kind of hits a little bit different.
Yeah. It's getting real. It's like, oh, this isn't just a flash in the pan.
No, we're here to stay. That's our end goal. As long as God's willing.
Not too long.
Yeah, not too long. As long as the Creator or God or whoever is willing to allow us to keep going, we're going to keep going. Well, we've had a good 8 episodes. Please, for the listening audience, if you haven't, please go back and just capture the first 8 so you can get caught up with
Only
us.
if you want.
No, you have to.
No, man.
Helps my algorithm in the podcasting world.
Who cares about algorithms?
As Shannon said, you do you, whatever that means. We just hope that you would go back and listen to the episodes. Episode 9. So we're not going to do quote unquote blocks of series per se. Shannon and I we're not wired that way for our podcast, but we are going to try to make some sense out of our flow. So that just means from episode to episode to episode. In episode 8, I did mention that Shannon and I have been talking about bringing in some other professionals, regardless of their discipline, and specifically we're going to go out and Shannon's going to talk to some of his people and see if we can't get some of the women in here on our podcast to share their opinions and insights in the mental health world. So just want to throw that out there again, that's going to be coming hopefully sooner than later, but we'll get there when we get there. This episode today, Shannon and I think we agreed we're going to just talk about, okay, we've talked about the weight, sitting with the weight, carrying the weight, what it looks like, what it feels like. We've talked about everything in between. We've talked about the community aspect. We've talked about the professional help and not overloading our loved ones and friends with our crazy whatever we're going through. But how do we now start moving, quote unquote, forward, but we're not technically moving on from just leaving everything behind? Does that make any sense, or am I completely crazy?
I know what you're trying to describe. Yeah. We can't erase the past, of course. We can't.
You can try.
Some people try. Yeah. To allow for what we have experienced, to allow for what we have gone through, and be able to let that, even if it was something that really impacted us in some very difficult ways before, there's over time and through, just different processes, there's ways to turn that so it actually can be a great thing in one's life, holy hell, that was awful. And what I've learned from that, how I've changed by going through that. Okay, it's okay.
Yeah, I think when I talk about moving forward but not moving on in my mind, what I really look at is in my personal life, I look at my history, my past history. I look at that as my experience and my growth. Because I feel like my growth came from what I went through when you look backwards. And in that, if I have the right perspective, which we talked about in the last episode, what your perspective can and can't do in your in our crazy minds. If you have the right perspective when you look back, like I look back, and I can pinpoint where I felt like, man, I made a great jump right here, or man, kind of got a little setback right there. But on the rebound or on the opposite side of that, wow, look at the growth after that, whatever that was, happened. So I think, again, that your perspective on how you look at your history and how you look back in your life is maybe one of the more important things to consider.
Yeah. And that's very determined by time, Father Time, the passage of time. It could be because generally right after something happens, something bad, I'll just quote unquote, as it seems in that moment, like, oh, that just happened. It can be very distressing. It can bring up all, it's generally experienced quite negatively. And it takes time to, just distance yourself from that, start seeing it in hindsight, start processing it, start looking at it in different ways, getting other people's perspective on things, starting to, as they say, just process the thing. And eventually, in time, we change our relationship with that incident and what was, in the moment, and often a horrific incident or really bad set of circumstances. Then generally the further we travel through time away from that and start seeing it in a new light, and like, oh, if that hadn't happened, like da, and look at what I've been able to accomplish through that. And but it is generally the passage of time with help from others.
Well said. And I'll share an experience, because that's what we kind of do here on Unloaded, is we try to give you guys real life experience, not just theory, not something I heard, not something I saw on YouTube, not something Shannon read in a book, but we try to give you guys our actual experiences so it's relatable. At least that was our intention when Shannon and I first talked about doing this podcast, Unloaded. So when we talk about history and integrating your experiences, I will tell our listening audience that in 2003, February 13th, 2003, it's amazing you can remember the day and time almost, right? February 13th, 2003, I was just a quick Cliff Note version. I was on my way to work, and unfortunately, I was involved in a near-death car accident where I got the life flight helicopter, the emergency surgery for 3 days, and so forth and so on. And that moment of time, because now we're in 2026, so we're talking 23 years. Yep. Man, just saying 23 years ago is like mind-blowing, It's crazy to think that context, but 23 years ago, even today, even in 2026, yes, I've moved on, but I haven't left that behind, because it's such a stark point in my life where for the first time I didn't feel like I was invincible and I wasn't Superman and that I could do anything without repercussion. Like, it was a near-death experience. It was a check of my mortality in that time and space. And then as we've moved on from 2003, there have been some very significant things that have happened on the same day, and that's for a different time in a different place and a different episode. But even though I haven't, quote unquote, left that fully behind, I have definitely moved forward, right? The impact is less on me emotionally and mentally now, but it's still a remembrance. I still remember it. There were times after that where I couldn't even drive on that day. I refused to drive. I just stayed home. Yep. I was that whacked out about that day and that time that I thought it was going to repeat itself. And that happened for probably a good 2, 3, 4 years, probably, if I can remember correctly. Now today, it's funny. My wife asked me, she's like, "Hey, you You always remember that? I'm like, yeah. I can't just hit the wipe button, as Shannon said. I can't hit the delete button and just boop and never remember it. And rightfully so. It does me good when I remember it.
Yeah.
Now
you're still able to drive.
I can drive all day, and but even as I'm driving around, it still comes up, and I process it and I think about it. And today that's different because when I process it, I'm processing it in more of a healthy, energetic way of, man, I'm just glad to still be here.
Wow, that was close.
Right? I'm glad to still being here on the planet and experiencing life and experiencing things and enjoying the time that I have here. So that's how you can turn something from a very drastic negative into a good positive. And with, as you said, the Father of Time, I don't know, maybe that'll last until I'm no longer here. I don't know. Nobody knows, not even me, right?
Yeah.
But I think with that, that's kind of what I was talking about early on with, you can move forward, but I'm not moving on. I'm not forgetting it like it never happened. I don't know if I could, to be honest with you. And I like to think I'm a pretty savvy guy in my mind these days. I'm practicing all the time, but even then I don't think I would want to, because it's such a healthy reminder to me.
Yeah. And when you say moving on, I mean, language is,
it's precarious, the words, right?
Yeah, because some would frame it as, oh, good, you've moved on past that, and so, but I think listeners understand our overall message here is, of course, we don't want to deny the things that have happened in the past, while we, at the same time, on the other side, don't want to get stuck in what happened, and it's kind of denying it in a different way, or just almost, giving it too much power, or avoiding it too much. It's very case by case. It's, so individual to each individual's, unique circumstances. Like, that happened, and then how we deal with that personally.
Yeah, because our stories carry a lot. Our story carries a lot. Right?
Which story? The one we tell ourselves, and that changes.
Yeah, I mean, I think as human beings, we all have a story, and that story is ever revolving and ever changing, because that's what we are. We're changing every single minute of the day, but we do carry our own story, and Shannon is correct that, it just depends on the story that you believe, the one you think people see. I don't know. That's way out there for me, I think, but I think just this, for me personally, I carry a very complicated story up until this moment of time, and it's been such a crazy journey for the time I've been on this planet, and I think that story per se, and you don't have to use the word story, you can just use life experience, whatever you want to fill in the blank with. Carry that thing, man, because it's yours. Nobody's lived this but me. You've lived yours, and it's so special to us because it's ours.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I kind of go the other direction, but there's 8 billion stories out there. So what makes it so special?
Because nobody's been in my shoes.
Yeah.
Or my head or my mind or my feeling,
Yeah. There again, that duality of, we're, just one of 8 billion people down here, while at the same time, and how unique is that?
8 billion unique individual stories, man. It's insanity to think about that in a conceptual way, but as it relates to what we're talking about on our podcast here on Unloaded, it's about the weight, man, and a lot of the weight is our story, right? It's connected. It has to be connected, because the weight we're carrying is derived from whatever the story is we've lived, right? Or we are living, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'll let you expand on that.
Yeah, it's. I know it's kind of a difficult thing, but so I gave that example of my car crash because, yes, I have moved forward. I've moved forward in a healthy way, but I haven't moved on. I'm not forgetting it. I'm not trying to forget it. And I think that's what I was trying to state in the beginning of the podcast today is when I'm on a personal mental health journey over the last 11 years, what I'll lay my every minute on is this entire journey has been about moving forward, but not moving on and just leaving everything in the dust, because the things that propelled me or the things that were the catalyst that even got me in the door to see you is the larger part of my story right now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as Shannon said, as the time pendulum starts to continue to swing down the road, my story of self-help journey will elongate. The timeline gets longer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, i.e., hey, I've been alive X amount of years. I'm just going to use a random number, 60. No, I'm not 60. So let's say I've been alive 60 years. My self-help journey started when I was, 50. Well, man, you got 40 years of story behind you. And then some catalyst propelled you into a new direction. You kind of, I know it's kind of hard to get it into context as in words, but that's kind of what I'm trying to say is as we get older and the timeline starts to expand, at some point you equal out almost. That duality starts to balance a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I've got 30 years of craziness, but man, look, I got 30 years of true, like, life-changing journey that I've been on. And to compare the two, it's crazy to think that it's literally like yin and yang.
Yeah. And it generally doesn't happen. Oh, the first 30 years of my life, and then the second 30 years of my life.
It's all over the map.
It's much more broken up.
It's all over the map,
right?
dude. Right?
Week by week, right?
Right.
Like day by day.
Day by day.
Like, holy, this morning sucked, but whew, thank goodness I got into the afternoon. Now things are evening out. Just a little more awareness of our moods, a little more of awareness of how we're treating others, treating ourselves. Yeah, it can be like our micro stories.
Yeah, it's a cumulative thing, and I'm not trying to make it linear by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just trying to maybe get more of a conceptualized picture for our listening audience. Is kind of where I'm trying to talk about is when I first started this journey, I had no idea what this was going to be. None at all. I was just happy and excited now, not then. Then I wasn't excited at all. I didn't even want to get out of the effing car to go in the front door, but I did. But from that moment, after stepping through the door, my life changed. My story took a drastic turn. I didn't know that at the time, and I'm going to make sure our listeners understand this. We are now talking about looking backwards.
Yeah.
And I believe it was Steve Jobs in one of his speeches where he says, you cannot look forward and connect the dots. It doesn't work that way. But you sure can look backwards and connect all the dots. Mm-hmm. Crystal clear picture, right? So that's what we're talking about, and I don't want to confuse people today. In the moment, I didn't want to be there. In the moment, I did not want to be partaking in any help in any way, shape, or form. That day, now looking back, was my catalyst of change. Mm-hmm. And it propelled me for the last 11 years. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. In that journey, yes, Shannon is correct. It's minute by minute. And if you can live your life minute by minute and you can stay in that moment of time, man, it's a great place to be. That's where I try to really focus on, and it's a nice place to be. But it's always going to be crazy. Left, right, up, down, left, right. I mean, it's just sometimes I feel like I'm in a clown car, maybe, right? Mm-hmm. Driven by some crazy clown that's just blindfolded me. He's like, hey, man, hang on. Yeah. No seatbelt either, right?
Yeah, you don't know what's coming.
Yeah, you kind of like just bouncing around, right? You don't know where you're going. But in that, what I did have to catch myself on, and we might have talked about this in previous episode, was try not to put too much expectation on the outcome. I'll let Shannon speak on that here in a sec. But when I was in my earlier journey, because I was a very 1,000 miles an hour guy, at all costs, get from A to B, don't look down, don't look up, just keep looking forward, full throttle, get from A to B. That's just the way I was. And I think I can look back and go, man, I had some expectations that were not met because, well, let's be honest, man, I was just putting pie in the sky things out there in my personal journey that were kind of fictional at the time. But at some point in my journey, I went on a very special trip. We'll talk about that one day. After I came back from that trip, I ceased with the expectation, and I allowed my personal health journey to be my personal health journey. Mm-hmm. And I took it minute by minute, one step at a time. And when I started doing it in that context, to me, it really opened up a different world for me.
Yeah. It's being present. And I'm sorry you had to hear that again. Oh, be present. Because it's quite cliche at this point, but there's a reason. Whether it's just whoever you're sharing the moment with, even eating a good meal or just outside in nature, whatever you're doing, when we can calm the mind and just be with whatever is happening without much expectation or judgment, the whole mindfulness of, cool, here it is, and just experiencing things as they are in this moment, it sheds a lot of that pressure and expectation.
Yeah, and I definitely switched from expectations to intention. That was difficult for me to learn. It was difficult for me to conceptualize that until I put it into practice. And for me personally, I found a lot of traction in just setting my intention for the day, but giving myself grace because I know how life is. My intention for the day is, hey, I want to get up on time. I nowadays I don't need an alarm. I am who I am. So I wake up at 3. It is what it is. That's my time I get up. But in that intention, my intention is, hey, I would like to get my journaling in, my meditation done, my reading, and my exercise.
That is quite the morning practice you have. Did you just say journaling, exercise, meditation, and reading every morning, getting up at 3 a.m.?
Yeah, so my happy hours is 3 a.m. to 6 a.m.
3 hours. That's good, man.
So out of the 24 hours,
yeah.
I have, and my family understands this, those 3 hours are for me.
Yeah, you start right. You start for you in the quiet of the early morning.
And not every morning my intention is met. So let me back up one sec. So generally at the end of the evening, you'll find me in my home office doing a plethora of different things just depending on the day. But I try to wrap up my evenings with just an idea of, hey, my intention tomorrow morning is just what we talked about. That doesn't happen because we don't live in a perfect world. Things occur, right? So I've been able to give myself enough grace, but in the same context, I still stay in my discipline. So and what I mean by that is I might get up at 03 in the morning. I might not be feeling the best physically because I've got some things that we're working through. So the exercise thing might not happen, right? Because I don't want to put myself in a position where I can't walk tomorrow or I'm out of the game for 3-4 days. So there's that grace. So instead of exercise, maybe I will then read longer, journal longer, or meditate longer. So yes, that's my time, and I like to get all those things wrapped up in 3 hours, but there is a moving target, if you will. Mm-hmm. But that 3 hours is mine to spend however it is I want to spend it.
Yeah. Wow, that's great. Yeah.
And that is how I set my intention for the day. Yeah. And it's crazy, in my busy, crazy career as a vice president, it really is the rock that sets me in motion. Mm-hmm. So conversely, I don't just wake up, So, oh, crap. Jump in the shower, throw some clothes on. I grab a cup of coffee, and I fly out the door, and I'm doing 90 to the office because I'm late for a meeting.
Yeah.
Well, the difference is now I'm up, I'm awake, I got some good coffee in me because everybody knows I love coffee, hands down. I've had my water for the day. I've had a good breakfast. I've got all these cool things that I've done in 3 hours, and I'm setting the cruise control on the way to work. I don't even speed to work anymore. I just hit the cruise control. If it's 55, I do 55. I don't really care. And I listen to sometimes I listen to our podcast recordings, and sometimes I listen to some other podcasters. But it's nice just to cruise into the office. And when I come into my office with, my staff, I'm centered.
Yeah.
I'm not, my hair's not, I don't have a lot of hair left, but my hair's not on fire. And people they sense it, they see it, and they're like, oh, hey, Mike's here, our boss is in, and I'm not flying up and down the hallway at 8 miles an hour, dude.
You've already had those golden 3 hours to start your day with for yourself, to really just care for self, center in what you are wanting to create for the day, how you want to be for the day. That's a powerful practice.
Yeah, and I want everyone to know this. This is 11 years in the making. I didn't do this 10 years ago. But 11 years now, this is my practice. This is what makes me tick. This is what makes me feel good. Drives my wife crazy sometimes. Even on vacation or if we're out just for a good weekend, I still wake up at 3.
Yeah.
A sleep-in session for me, and people probably clown me on this one, though. If I sleep in, quote unquote, it's like 3:45.
Damn, Michael's getting lazy these days.
Exactly. That's exactly it. She's like, oh, your whole day's gone. What are you going to do now? You're 45 minutes late. You know what I mean? But that's what I mean by setting intention. I have no expectation. I just set the intention that I'm hoping to get, and I do my very best to stay disciplined in the intention.
And you reap great reward from that. So that just reinforces that for you. Like, ooh, look how much better my work days are going. Look how much more centered I am. Look how better I'm able to deal with these difficult situations. I'm just responding more. I'm more grounded and, managing my emotions much better. This really serves me. Of course I want to keep doing this. Like, I don't want to miss that because it serves me so well.
Yeah, and like I said, that could be anything, We talked about it before. I used to be a physical fitness gym nut, and my day started in the gym at 04. And I was on a treadmill for 60 minutes every morning, 7 days a week without question. So it can be anything for anyone. My wish and my hope and prayer for anybody listening is set aside just something for yourself. It doesn't have to be 3 hours. It could be 30 minutes.
3 minutes.
3 minutes. 2 minutes. So I do a minute of breathing.
30 seconds.
Right.
Something for yourself that that helps. That feels good. But it is consistent, even daily. If at the end of my shower every day I'm just going to put in that little bit of extra effort to stretch, just to okay, warm water, stretch out, my body's needing that. Okay, I feel better. I'm maintaining a little bit better flexibility because each day I'm allowing myself just some basic stretches. Yeah, that's a practice. That's a daily practice that is beneficial.
Yeah, Shannon is correct. He hit the nail right on the head. The time doesn't matter, the duration of time. If you did 1 minute, 30 seconds of intentional breathing where you just focus on breath, in, out, simple things we do every day we don't think about. If you intentionalize that and just concentrate on feeling and listening to your breathing for 30 seconds, 45 seconds throughout the day, periodically, change your life.
No, I'm not telling anybody what to do. It can be difficult to remain present with 10 breaths. Inhale, exhale. 1. inhale, exhale. 2. And generally by about 6 or 7, what number was I on? Was I on 5 or 6? The mind wanders that fast. It's hard to keep track of 10 breaths if we're going slow and just trying to settle, be calm, being present, But yeah, anything, start easy, start small, just gentleness, just you are caring for yourself. This is good for you, and so don't make it too much of a chore, too much effort. If the harder I push, the better it'll be. That very effort intensive approach that that's often overemphasized. It's not, work harder, do better. Sometimes it can just be, hey, let's just go easy. Let's just be gentle on self and see. That helps.
Yeah, I'll just leave our audience with this today: is the power is in the intention. That's it. Power is in the intention. If you have intention to do something for yourself and to honor yourself and to care for yourself and to take care of something for you, there's the power. And Shannon is correct. Doesn't matter if it's 1 time, 10 times, 1,000 times. The intention behind it is where the power is at. And if you just rinse and repeat that a couple times, the next thing you know, man, you could do it 100 times without even thinking about it. You know what I mean?
It becomes habit. It becomes practice.
Yep.
You want it. It just, yep.
Good habit, good intention, life-changing at some level, caring for yourself, because that's what Unload's about, self-care, right?
Yep.
Well, unfortunately, our time is up. Unfortunately. But fortunately, as Shannon would tell me, so we can get another episode in down the road. Like always, if you are out there and you need help, please go seek that help. Google it, call somebody, make an appointment, book an hour for yourself somewhere, talk to somebody. We wish you the very best. I thank each and every listener that allows us an opportunity to just have a conversation, because that's where the power is. And this is Mike Seahorn.
Shannon Morrow.
And we will catch all of you in the next episode.